Hello. Today I have a very special astrologer and dear friend who I'd love you to meet. And her name is Katrin. Hello, Katrin. It's good to have you here today.
Hi, Rebecca. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. Yeah.
Great. So today, some of you know, Katrin has been a part of our RGA Network, which is a very small network of wonderful astrologers that have studied with us for years ago or recently, and that I thoroughly endorse and I love to recommend. So Katrin is one of the tops. I mean, I've known her for a very long time, and I highly recommend her astrological wisdom. So she's been in our network since we launched, which was in November of 2020. And today I invited her back on because we are not only relaunching, but we're also sharing her wonderful work with astrology coaching and coaching as well through us. So I wanted you to get to know Katrin because she's going to talk a little bit about her journey into astrology, why astrology, and what she does. I find her to be one of the most fascinating people I know. um, we've also collaborated together a lot over the years. So, Katrine, why don't we start off with talking about your big three, your sun, moon, and rising, and what that means for you as an astrologer.
Cool. That's a good way to get in. Yeah. So my sun is in Taurus. And as you can see, I just love to create beauty around me, kind of the earth as a just the planet Earth as this wonderful place to incarnate into a physical body. So what that brings into my astrology is the sort of innate sense of nature's cycles. Like I just intuitively kind of tune into how we are as part of nature and how the moon cycles, the planetary cycles, how that all kind of just interacts with our lives. So I am sort of tuned into that, and that is the wisdom that I bring to clients, is sort of how to really live in tune with your own nature, how to live in tune with the big picture nature, and how to create an abundant and beautiful life. Like the Taurus thing is like, we don't have to die to go to paradise. Why can we
Yep.
create like,
So,
paradise on earth? So this is what I want to
yep.
bring to my clients to help them create their paradise on earth.
Taurus is definitely the sign for that. And I find that in your readings and in your teachings, we've co hosted retreats together across the globe. Katrine is also extremely practical and she brings things down to earth with that Taurian wisdom as well, and really helps you to align with that luscious life that you were born to live. And I feel like that your coaching work comes into play there too. Um, but you've really
Yeah.
shown
Yeah,
us
for sure.
that
Like
you want.
I love creating, helping people kind of live their version of, what's a beautiful life for them. That's the Taurus thing. And then my Sagittarius rising, that's a fire sign, and Sagittarius is sort of this big picture. So I bring in this big picture wisdom. I'm always kind of tuned in. I'm always fascinated by what's going on in the world, what's going on in the economy. So kind of like that Taurus side, the practical thing, but then the big picture, what's going on in humanity. And also, where are the opportunities? The Sagittarius is like kind of the perennial optimist. So it's just the sees what's possible. Like even if things look tough, like there's always an opportunity somewhere. So I always want to point that out to clients and kind of inspire them to see that opportunity for growth. So that's the Saggy rising. And then my Capricorn moon, the kind of, bring it grounded all into earth. And Capricorn moon, I feel like I'm really committed to my client's success. Like I just love when, the astrological coaching, when it helps them kind of complete a project or navigate through a career change or, build a house, buy a house, start a family, all those kind of practical earthy things. I just get so excited when clients succeed in that. So it's, and also the Capricorn moon, I feel like it gives me a really good intuition about these sort of very earthy practical things. Like
I
I
call it the practicorn, and I love the practicorn in you, especially because we've hosted so many retreats together across the globe, and I can always depend on the practicorn part of you to have all of the logistics, you know. But certainly, I've seen you do that with your coaching clients for sure. At least they've told me as well that um, the level of accountability and that the aspiration that they feel with that too. There's something in Capricorn saying, "Hey, why not set the sights there? And let's go. Let's do it." I love that part too. Um, so, uh, so we have earth, sun, we have fire, rising, and earth, moon. So that is certainly a very strong and resilient combination. I feel like that certainly it's something that you give your clients, is that sense of strength and resilience to kind of grow through whatever the challenge may be ahead. Um, and let's talk about how you got into astrology, as you are now an astrology, not only an astrologer with the RGA Network, but also a coach with us now. So it's really exciting to invite you in as a coach. But I think it would be interesting to hear your journey into astrology as well as coaching. Uh, what would you like to share?
Sure. Yeah, I was just fascinated with astrology ever since I was a teenager, but I grew up in Estonia, which was back then a Soviet place. So there was really no resources, no books. There was just but we did find in school, we found this one astrologer and we invited him to give a lecture at our high school. But he was kind of like this, a bit of a scary Hogwarts professor with like the big beard and like a dark coat and just a little gloomy. So I wanted to learn, but I was like, I don't know, like he might have some scary things to tell me. So I kind of brushed it aside a little bit, all my adventures, moved to New York, studied here in NYU and started my career. But then during kind of a personal crisis period in my life where I was unsatisfied with my career path and wanted to make some changes, I encountered Rebecca. I encountered you in a yoga studio in Soho, and I just loved your approach to astrology. This really empowering, feminine, modern, like very heart-centered, very caring, very encouraging. So I was just like, wow, astrology can be like that. Like it
That
doesn't
was
have to
back in
go.
2007, right?
Yeah,
That
I
was a
know. I
really
can't
long
believe
time
it.
ago.
Yeah. So then, yeah, Pluto went into Capricorn in 2008.
Mhm.
So my Capricorn moon, so this was like this deeply transformative period in my life where I just felt this urge to kind of like just take it all apart, like nothing is working, like this deep dissatisfaction and just redo everything. So I got a reading from you and it was truly life-changing and just really empowering. Like it helped me understand what was going on, that it was this once in a lifetime opportunity to transform these deep emotional patterns in the moon and the whole. I got into even like the feminine lineage of my mother and grandmother and understanding their stories and how those patterns like were transmitted to me and just healing a lot of that. And really just to, have the courage to live more authentically. So the Pluto kind of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
But what you shared with me in that reading, it really just put things in context, and it just sort of affirmed that, yeah, I'm going to all these different therapists and doing all those things. She was like, yes, this is what you're supposed to do. This is like, you're doing the high road. So this gave me such a kind of, boost of confidence in that reading. So how that reading impacted me inspired me then to dive deeper into astrology and to kind of learn it. And then 2011, I studied with you, and this was still back in the old analog days when we didn't have Zoom. So we actually gathered around a big table and had this really amazing kind of community learning
Oh, I
situation.
love those days, Katrin. So, those of you that don't know, I used to teach astrology in Manhattan and in Brooklyn, and we all sat around these beautiful old wooden tables, this incredible community there. We would meet weekly, and those were the classes that you were in. Yes. I I dearly miss that in-person life. Yeah.
So yeah, that was when my astrology journey really got started. I started doing readings after that, first for friends, and then it just sort of expanded into clients. Then in 2013, we did our first retreat together in Mexico, our first astrology and nature adventure and elements, and this really fun collaboration. So I certainly hope we're going to get to do more retreats now that the COVID is kind of, slowly weaving its way out of our systems here.
Yes.
So yeah, that was amazing. So that was such a fun
And
collaboration.
oh yeah, we've held many retreats together, and I'd always admired the way that Katrin taught astrology as well and explained it to people. Um, as she did come out of our school, so there's elements of our DNA in it, of the Rebecca Gordon School, but I also saw what the beauty that she added to it, and I should add that Katrin's an avid surfer. She's really a great surfer, and I feel like she adds some of that agility and sensory perception surfing into her reading, she really does help clients to kind of move through with grace and just agility, these incredibly challenging, trying situations. I think Katrina is sort of masterful at riding those waves and finding a way through. Um, and I attribute that to your surfing too. I feel like she uses a lot of surfing metaphors in her work as well, which
Yeah, I feel like surfing is like my form of meditation and spiritual practice. Like it's like the most, like you're so present when you're in the water, in the waves. I was actually in New York, Rockaway Beach surfing this morning.
Mhm.
And but yeah, I love to use nature metaphors. I just feel like it's so in my DNA with all my earth planets. Like I just,
Yeah,
when I speak of astrology, I use, gardening metaphors, plants, surfing, those sort of nature cycles. And I feel like people can really relate to that. They can really kind of feel it in their bones. And it's like kind of wakes up that ancient part of us that is actually our natural intuition, how we are actually aligned. We can get out of track with these modern worlds. We can kind of think ourselves into knots and just get things very confused. But
yeah,
this is like where I feel like my coaching background kind of comes in, is to kind of like,
mhm.
see how we overcomplicate life and how to kind of bring it back to center and how to like focus on the goals that truly matter and kind of help clients to really kind of see through with that action.
That is something that I think we all sort of need right now, is that sense of clarity and what to focus on with the sensory overload right now that we're all enduring. So it's something, there's definitely this beautiful silence that you bring, and a wisdom. I feel, I know you've studied various philosophies and mystery traditions over the last 20 years, and I feel like you definitely bring that wisdom as well. Like there's a sage like wisdom you infuse in your readings. At least I've heard that from your clients and their testimonials as well. And that's really wonderful to see. Um, and you bring that to all of your teachings. So I'm really honored to have you on board as a coach here to share that the beautiful earth wisdom of with our community as well. So I want to ask you one last question. What is your most favorite part about being an astrologer? What do you love most about giving readings and this practice?
I love when the clients, when their eyes light up, when they have that moment of recognition, when they kind of see something deep about their own soul, about their own being, they recognize that, like that's sort of the birth chart part of the reading. But when I really reflect back something beautiful about them, some of their innate talents that are amazing, but they just take it for granted because that's the way they are. One recent example was a Gemini client, and he was a bit sort of, down on himself. He was like, oh, I don't know, Gemini, yeah, I'm so chatty. And then I just was like, wow, but like you're curious, you start conversations, you're a great communicator, to see that as a gift, that was, and he's just like, he's something changed. And I was like, it's so beautiful to see. And I love to help people navigate these challenging times in life. Career changes, moving, starting a new family, maybe a relationship breakup. Because for me, that was like my door into astrology, my crisis year, my 2007-8 when I met you. So I just, I love passing on that gift of seeing the bigger picture, seeing the wisdom in that transition, and also seeing the opportunity, because there's always the opportunity. So this is where my Saggy rising kind of is like, hey, yeah, everything might be totally falling apart, but look, this is like the light coming through. Like there's that
Leave
door
it up
that's
to a
open.
Sag rising to help you there. Yes, absolutely. Um,
Yeah, so.
I concur. Yes. Certainly, you help people to get quite unstuck. And there's something about living by example. I do feel like there's something of a transmission that happens in a reading. There's one, of course, there's information that's conveyed in as far as yes, you're going through this cycle and this is the archetype you're dancing with now. This is how long it's gonna last. This is what it's about. Of course, astrology can tell you when it's gonna be over and what's going on. But there's a whole other level that you bring to this, of the greater meaning of the transit, and um, not and
Yeah.
also methods to get unstuck. There's something in your essence that you convey to people of without even saying the words that there's another way to live, there's another way to be, another way through without so much struggle. And that's Katrine wisdom, you know, that's something that sort of transcends through all. Uh
Thank you. Yeah, I that's what I feel like ultimately astrology helps us do, is to live in harmony with these larger cycles. And I get especially excited when I see one of those kind of once in a lifetime things in a client's chart where it's like, Uranus going over the sun. I just had a client recently that had, she was Taurus, so Uranus crossing over her sun, and she had Pluto moon opposition. So, I was
yeah,
like, wow, you have like the double trouble. Yeah, but the double opportunity. Like, you're going to have the most amazing transformative year. You're going to be such a different
yeah.
person. Like, you're going to, so to kind of see that, and to kind of, shepherd someone through, and to kind of guide them through that in a positive way. This is sort of passing on the gift that you gave me with that Pluto reading. So.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad it's going further out into the world. And with that, um, meet Katrine. I suggest you book a session with her or a coaching package, which we're so honored to offer now. Katrine, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And it's an honor to be able to share your wisdom with our community. Below in the show notes, you will see all the links for anything you might desire to do and explore astrology wise with Katrine. Thank you all so much. Thanks, Katrine, for
Thank you.